Hello, my name is Nate Miller, and I would like to inform you about the information economy and the oligopoly that emerges from it and how it exists as a weird and inverted social contract. Firstly, I would like to define the information economy in terms of it being a marketplace for information. That said, information being user data. There are two sides to the information economy. There is a demand side and there is the supply side. The demand side is made up of consumers and them consuming the free services that technology corporations create, and they, in exchange, sell their information to the supply side, that being the technology corporations that essentially buy the user data and they sell the free services. And this creates a market, essentially, not for the services, but specifically for user data. User data is used and is made into a profitable medium through targeted advertising. Targeted advertising is essentially a methodology by which corporations are able to target select populations by using data from users en masse to essentially target various users for various data points to target them with advertisements. So let's say you're on the internet and you're researching Civil War memorabilia. You are more likely to get ads for Civil War memorabilia because you are on the internet and you are giving these corporations and these algorithms data points with and along with your user data to allow them to target you with, let's say, advertisements about that said Civil War memorabilia. And that comes down to an unfortunate fact that they can make a lot of money from this. And the problem with it is that it functions not as a normal marketplace, but as an oligopoly. An oligopoly, by definition, by the OECD, is a market that is controlled by the supply side, and the demand side has little to zero control. The information economy is an extreme form of oligopoly because the supply side has literally all of the power and the demand side has zero of the power because they're almost like a resource in which they are extracting user data from the demand side, aka the common consumer / user from which they get the data from. And this is where we have to talk about the motivations of corporations. People like to vilify corporations. Corporations are not villains. They're the exact opposite. Their sole contract is to maximize shareholder value, as is seen in the court case Dodge versus Ford Motor Company. From that, we see that their main and only objective is to maximize shareholder value. The problem with this is that they ignore the invisible, unknown social contract that exists between the demand and the supply side of the information economy when you treat it as a marketplace for information. This comes into conflict when you understand the definition of the social contract, which is mutually beneficial actions and interactions within a social environment between groups and individuals taken from the Cambridge Dictionary of Philosophy, Ante 2015. As that is the definition of the social contract, we can essentially see that the information economy functions as a great way to maximize shareholder value as an oligopoly, but they are ignoring the social contract. And as you can see, they make a massive amount of money from that, as this is the S&P 500 in terms of total wealth created over the last 2 years. As you can see, you have 495 corporations making about 50%, and then you have 5 corporations making the other half, which is a great showing of just how the information economy is able to create even a slight amount of that wealth creation. It is responsible for a good amount of it because they completely changed the practice and doings of advertising, which is a massive thing. And this is where J. Phil Choi et al. 2019 comes in, because a group of economists essentially say, all we need to do to fix this, we don't need to get rid of those massive profits. We don't need to get rid of the core tenet of corporate philosophy. We don't need to change the oligopoly. We don't need to change that. The only thing we need to do is create informed consumers. So we only have to create the ease of access of information. And this is where I would like to refer to Carl Sagan in an infamous quote, where he says in his book, The Demon-Haunted World, written in 1997, "We have also arranged things so that almost no one understands science and technology This is a prescription for disaster. We might get away with it for a while, but sooner or later this combustible mixture of ignorance and power is going to blow up in our faces. Now, looking around the world, you can say that there are a good amount of combustible mixtures, you could say, between power, technology, and ignorance. And in this circumstance, we see that J. Phil Choi 2019 essentially has given us a way out of this combustible mixture. Because in comparison, Monith et al. 2023 shows just how much of a unknown threat AI and misinformation from AI is going to be. Because in their study, they showed that mental health treatment is going to go nosediving over time because of the amount of misinformation that is going to be created over the next few years from the exponential increase in usage of the exponential usage of AI in terms of the increase in misinformation. So compared to that, the information economy as an oligopoly and the invisible social contract are almost solvable problems. Because whenever I look at a social problem, I can see that there are possible solutions or there aren't. And Carl Sagan's quote is a good way to center oneself when looking at things. And that's why I wanted to inform you about the information economy. Because unlike certain things that are on the horizon, the information economy, despite being an oligopoly and despite it being a function of corporations that are maximizing shareholder value, all you need to do is to create informed users and consumers, and by doing so, you can create an equilibrium that is beneficial for everyone. Thank you.